Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. As we are making ourselves ready for this fifth round of the season. We're left with 2.5 minutes for the start of qualifying. After which the drivers will have the time to set in their lap times. "15 minutes they get to be able to set their fastest lap, as they will determine the grid order for this fifth round of the season." You're saying fifth round, but there have only really been 3 already, so we're missing one. That is indeed correct. We had some server issues, which led to 2 rounds needed to be repeated. We did round 2 last week. Now we jump to round number 5, and then 6, 7, 8 in the upcoming weeks. And the last round will be round number 3, to make sure that the entire season did run as was originally planned. Well, today we are at the circuit Paul Ricard in the south side of France. This circuit, mostly known for its long back straight, which in GT racing does not include a chicane. We have seen the chicane being used in lots of other circuits, or other configurations, mostly or most commonly known as the Formula 1 circuit, but also with the Formula 2, Formula 3. I believe, if I am correct, we also do not use the chicane with the European Le Mans series, ALMS. But there are some variety of other races being held around this circuit, as well as with the national layout, which is a little bit shorter, quite a lot shorter, has to be said. We are waiting for the last cars to finish. Steenstra probably being the last one to make it across the finish line, as Jordanov has already completed their lap, so they are done with the practice session. As Steenstra comes across the line to start the qualifying session. There we go. Qualifying session has started, and we are on our way. 15 minutes of pure pace. As all the drivers head out on track. Well, I say all the drivers, it's now only a couple of them. Only 4 who have gone out at the very start of the session. Let's get some quick facts in. Paul Ricard is close to Le Castellet, or it's location is Le Castellet, which is close to Marseille in France, near the Mediterranean Sea. It was opened in 1970 and features a total length of around 5.8 kilometers, 3.6 miles, with 13 turns and of course the big back straight. The back straight being 1.8 kilometers long, so nearly a third of the lap, or over a third of the lap actually, is just a back straight by itself. Other than that, we have the 3 different sectors, as we will go on board with Winters here, going into turn numbers 1 and 2, a quick left right to start off the lap. Then we near turn number 3. 3, 4 and 5. 5, arguably one of the trickiest corner on the circuit. Be careful not to run too wide, as that will lead you to invalidate your lap time. Then we sweep through turn number 6 and then turn 7, all flat out, and then we are on the back straight. The back straight being nearly 2 kilometers wide, or long, excuse me, which with speeds reaching up to 280 kilometers an hour. Are we gonna see that from Winters here to 80 indeed, 281 even for a split second. Then a dab on the brakes for turn number 8. Nice sweeping right-hander. Then a bit more braking for turn number 9, going on for an endless amount of time, almost a double apex corner. Don't extend there, and Winters did extend, so that will invalidate this lap time. We'll go on with turn number 10. Also a difficult exit, to say the least there. Turns 11, and then the final section of the track with turn 12, hugging the inside apex, or the inside curbing, and then going through turn 13, powering it down the main straight and coming across the finish line with a 1:55.9, but that was an invalidated lap time, so it will not count towards the leaderboard. As we see that Jordanov has been stationary. Yeah, in the pit lane. Interesting camera angle to show here, race director. Jordanov in the pit lane, appearing to have brought out the yellow flags. It's not that the case really. It's just a glitch that we have had in ACC for a very long time. I was actually mistaken earlier. I said 15 minutes, but it's actually 20 minutes of qualifying. I forgot that a little bit, I have to say. But it's alright. I mean, the drivers knew from the start. It was just me that had the little whoopsie. As we take a quick look at the overall standings, that's the word. The overall standings, we have BPX Royal currently in first place with 240 points, very closely followed by Mr. Overtaker 99 with 237 points. Then we have Cabras with 213 and Moro with 211. And I believe Moro isn't partaking this round. I haven't seen BX Royal yet. I might be blind, which is not totally out of the question. And there we have BX Royal is currently participating. So no worries from their side, as they will try to with or hold their currently provisional championship winning position in the standings. Then we have Paris in 5th place with 207. Titswell with 202, closely behind. Then is Weatherston, Scandon, Oliver and Mark with the remaining top 10 in the overall standings. As we take a close look at the track now, we see Asen being stopped outside of the circuit, letting some cars pass. All well and done there. As they are making sure that they get a good run out of the final corner to start another flying lap. They are currently in P number 12 with a 1:56.292. Lots of people still needing to set a lap time or a competitive lap time. As Paris makes it out of the pit lane, currently in second place with a 1:54.612, which is quickly taking a peek, almost 4 tenths behind Gertz, who has a 1:54.230 currently in the pit lane. Speaking of that, currently going out of the pit lane, and Weatherston, the another one on the current podium for the qualifying in P3. Well, you can see a clear picture here with the top 6 being Ford, Bentley, Lexus, Ford, then another Lexus in P7. So it shows you really how dominant or which cars are the most dominant. Then we have Cabras in the Porsche with Schmidt in the Ferrari and Klin in the Aston Martin. So they are the outliers really of this top 10. As we scroll further down the field, we have also a couple of BMWs, a McLaren by Fitzpatrick as well. The Mercedes from Van Eyck, a couple of other McLarens from Bayliss and Venter. But yeah, it's mostly the Ford or the Lexus. As we have 10 minutes left to go in this qualifying session, Popov with a current P7 with a 1:55.367, doing fairly well, I must say, currently with their qualifying. As we take a look, Popov getting a quickly check. I got the results right here. Popov with a P. I am messing around. I really am. It shows you how prepared I am. With a P9 for last week. There we go. Finally. in the Lexus. Currently is looking for a P7. We have to wait and see on that whether or not he can hold that P7 or maybe even improve. Hammerlund in 6th place, currently on the grid with a 155.292. Just behind Winters with a 155.122. So Hammerlund needs to gain at least 2 tenths really to get ahead of his good mate Andy Winters, but now he has invalidated this lap time. He was up by quite a lot, which would have put him in P5. But going too wide out of turn number 8, it is an easy thing to do, but that does lose you the lap time, and with it the possibility to improve on said lap time. Now he's got Van Eyck very closely behind. Maybe he will go for a bit of a cheeky slipstream down the back straight. This Mercedes, I'm not really sure what its strengths are, just in general, but also around the circuit. The only Mercedes on the grid, I think this entire season, if I am not mistaken. So yeah, the only Mercedes on the grid, and because of that they are leading in the Mercedes classification. That's one way of looking at it. Just keeping it within track limits through turn 8, such a difficult thing to do when you're really on pace. As we go on board with the helmet cam, going very wide and cutting back through turn number 10. Getting all nicely through turn 11, not really a difficulty. Then we get turn 12, which is a bit of an annoying braking zone, with turn 13 rounding out the circuit, getting on the power as early as possible and powering it down the main straight. Not an improvement this time, 1/10 down on their personal best lap time. And with 5 minutes left to go, is 3 more laps they can run before the checkered flag will be shown. A couple of guys now leaving the pit lane, Jordanov being one of them. Let's see if I can find them. There we go. Currently in 27th place, but with possibly some time to make up over the course of the lap. And when you gain some time around the lap, that almost certainly means that you will go up in at least a position. but currently on their outlap. No real business to be done with on their outlap. It's just making, or more like a formality to get to the starting line. Although that being said, the outlap can be crucial for tire warming, getting up to speed with said track and car. So it's not only driving around for one lap, it means a little bit more than that. As we see Hammerlund in the chat as well with saying let's go, and Descent as well saying let's go as well. Both looking very hyped for this race. The race itself, of course, also having a duration, and that being 1 hour. 1 hour of race time around Le Castellet is how the French would pronounce it. Don't try and insult me with my abilities to speak French, because there is no ability to speak French, as I am not really good at speaking French. I much rather prefer to speak either Dutch, English, and maybe a little bit of German from time to time as well. That being said, 2 minutes about left on the clock. That means if you start a lap round about now, that will be your last lap. No second lap for you in there, but I believe that we did get at least one driver in for a second lap, which would be Scanlon. Scanlon, who is currently starting his lap, coming out of the first sector, as we see Van Eyck entering the pit lane, and that is qualifying done for them, P19. I'm not really sure if they will be happy with that, but yeah, nothing they can do about it anymore, as they cannot venture out back on track again. Still, track is very much alive with a lot of invalidated lap times. We have Zangari coming across the line and increases their position to P5. Very well done. A 154.535 puts them P5 currently, but we still have some other drivers still out on track. One of them being Dandis, up over half a second, 6 tenths now on their lap time. Currently P24. They would love to see an improvement of that number, probably maybe in the P15 area. I'm not so sure how close everybody is in contention with one another. But right now, 2 more corners left to venture, maybe a little bit deep into turn number 12, but then staying very much to the left hand side in turn number, going into turn 13. They do miss the apex quite a bit, but that doesn't matter. Still 7.5 tenths up, coming across the line. It will be P20 actually, so a very tight field actually up ahead, as it is P20 for Dandis. Do we have another person out on track? Yes, we do. Cabras is still out on track, currently P12 with a 155.495. One of the last runners. We still got 3 more cars behind who are yet to complete their lap time. As Cabras so closely to extending. Look at the concentration from Cabras. Absolute determination to finish off this lap. in a manly fashion. Just about up on that time, not really now, losing a couple of hundredths. It's so very close. Going probably too deep into turn number 12, trying to make it work. Don't really doing the right thing there. Coming up to the line, it will not be an improvement from Cabras as we look for another driver. Wind is there. Last car to cross the start finish line. 2 tenths up, 3 tenths up nearly as they come towards the line. Will it be an improvement to make it P5? It would not be the case. Quite a gap actually to P5. But there we have it. We have Guts. Then BX Royal out of nowhere taking P2 with Paris in third, Weatherston in fourth, Zangari fifth, Winters sixth, Scanlon in seventh, Hamilton in eighth, Schmidt in ninth, and Popov in 10th place. Then we have Rach, Steenstra, Cabras, Warrior, Glyn, Venter, Baylis, Eisen, Van Eyck and Dandish making up the top 20. Furthermore, we have Oliver, Caraballo, Kolodov, Turney, Black, Fitzpatrick, O'Leary, Moorer, Jordanov and Lane making up the entire field up to P30. Lane not setting a lap time, just managing to get on the grid in the nick of time. As there we have the grid order. Let's quickly take a look at the qualifying, see where Gertz managed to get the edge over the rest of the field. So surprisingly, Gertz and Zangari both had the fastest first sector with a 31 seconds and 5 to 7 thousandths of a second, both there being the quickest all round. Second sector then, Weatherston being the quickest through there in their Lexus car with a 31.797, actually gaining around half a tenth on Gertz. Then through the final sector it is BX Royal in the other Lexus with a 50.630. So it looks like it was just mainly the opening sector that was really good from Gertz. Of course, Gertz also extending by a tenth through the second sector away from BX Royal, who then gains a tenth about back in the third sector. So it was mostly the first sector that really decided the grid by the looks of it. Further down the field, it is very closely with Scanlon and Hamilton setting the exact same lap time, but because Scanlon did it first, they start first ahead of Hamilton. Going a bit further down the field, still some very close gaps between some cars. But quite astonishingly actually to see an identical lap time.
30 seconds.
As we hear the race engineer saying 30 seconds, that means that it is 30 seconds till the green flag, not for the start of the race, but for the start of the formation lap. As we look back from the field, as the leader sets off, Kurtz sets off. Quick reminder again, there is no mandatory tire change for this race. There is a mandatory pit stop though. That mandatory pit stop needing to get some fuel in. But how much fuel you put in doesn't really matter. How much you can put in, 1 liter, you can put in 60 liters, how much you want. Just make sure you make that pit stop sometime during the race, or else you will be disqualified. First sector already around out, but 30 cars on the grid, making up a lot of space. Actually, you say 30 cars, but it looks to me like Lane has left the grid for whatever reason. I'm not so sure what happened there. We might see something further down the lines. I hope to get some information on that possibly soon-ish. As this back straight is just really keeping the tire temperatures in check. Making sure that everything is nice and up to temperature. Then you have the final sector to really get some weaving going, as there's already a cone flying in the background. You're not supposed to hit those, I'm afraid. One of the drivers must have knocked that one. Not that it will have any further problems. Yeah, it's a plastic cone. What's it gonna do? Big Dan in P3, nice, says Ben. Indeed, Paris in P3 in the Bentley, the only Bentley in the field, so really making a name for Bentley as a brand there, starting from P3 behind a Ford and a Lexus. Through the final sector now, and now we are lining up side by side. As Gertz falls back a little bit, then gets back to the front of the field. Still a little bit of time to get some of that last bit of temperature in the tires. You can see in the bottom right hand side of your screen, putting on the throttle and braking at the same time. Generally something you don't want to do during the race, but right now it's warming up the brakes, keeping the brakes up to temperature, as well as keeping the tires up to temperature. As they round the final corner, going to the start finish straight, where they will wait for the green lights to show information. They come. Round number 5 is about to start, and it is green, green, green as we get underway. Good with the inside line for turn number 1. Generally not a very good overtaking spot, as they manage to get on the brakes nicely, as everyone is filtering through the field quite well. No issues as far as I can see in the background, but Guts is already away. Second clear from BX Royal, who had to defend from Paris at the start of the race. Behind we see Schmidt and Sangari battling it out, the two Ferraris, 1-1-1 against 1-1. Sangari getting losing a bit of space from the start of the lap, as everyone seemingly being well behaved throughout the field. No yellow flags to be reported of as of now. And now comes the slipstream battle on the main straight. Rach behind Scanlon, who is behind Sangari, who is behind Schmidt, all trying to get a draft of one another as they make their way through turn number 10. This is one of the prime overtaking spots. You really need to be committed. Don't run too wide, as that will get you dinged for track limits, as in the background the Porsche goes very wide, and there will probably be a warning for them. I'm actually very much surprised about how well behaved everyone has been throughout this opening lap. We have seen some incidents in the past couple of weeks on the opening lap, and now people are really trying to keep it as clean as possible, and they are doing a very good job at that. Paris on the hunt for P number 3 as we ride on board with the Bentley down into turn number 1. As they go really late on the brakes, almost smashing into the back of BX Royal. Not something you want to do too often, because you can just see how much time they have lost. Going into the end of the first sector, into the second sector now. Everyone just snaking through. Everything looks alright, but that Lexus has just such amazing top end speed. And you can already see behind Weatherston under pressure from the Ford. Ford also being quite powerful in a straight line. Issue being that Ford, well, it has 6 gears, but you only really use 5 of those. Only towards the really end of the straight you get to use 6th. And that is a bit of a issue, because it just means you have a little bit less of top end speed. Steenstra now in P10. Also in another Lexus, still very close to one another. Who has a bit of a scare from Popov behind, a bit of an unsettling of the car. As they make their way through the third sector. This race can be decided and might be decided by track limits, as it is so difficult to sometimes stay within track limits. You can get dinged very easily by race control, and when you got 4 dings from race control, that is an automatic drive through penalty. And we heard quite a bit. It's I would say a medium-sized pit lane in terms of length, so will not cost you that much time compared to other circuits like Spa, but it would still hurt your overall performance throughout the race. It is still Gertz who leads from BX Royal, with Paris and Weatherston and Winters still making up that top 5. So nothing has changed there in terms of positions. Already towards the front of the field there are some gaps creating over a second now between some of the cars, although we can see that Paris is getting closer and closer to the back of BX Royal. It's just a matter of time before something will happen, whether or not that be an overtake or a crash, I'm not so sure. As a bit of a slide from Venter. Oh, and a bigger slide from Venter. He loses it out of turn number 8. Gets a big slide, but manages to keep the engine going and getting back on the circuit. But plumb last from P21, I would say. Or no, P19 it was, or somewhere around that. Losing to 10 positions now. And probably having a big flat spot on any 4 of those tires, and that might prove to be worth a pit stop. It would be early, but you will come out in free air, which can be handy for that third sector. But throughout the second sector, you really want that slipstream. The second sector being just primarily the big back straight. Aisan with some damage, quite a lot of damage actually, from the whole side of the car, from the front and from the left hand side. And from the rear even as well, that Porsche not looking too nicely as of now. I am hopeful that it won't impact their performance aero wise, especially from the rear, as that rear diffuser is such a massive help for the car's performance. As we ride on board with Asen, clawing closer and closer to the back of Caraballo's car. Is there going to be a move into turn number 8? No, an early tap on the brakes, early lift of the throttle, and Dundee's going a bit wide, and that is a bit of a scary place to go wide, as Asen is looking up the inside into turn number 9, not quite able to get there. But Dundee's getting away with a scare, as behind Turney is also pressuring the Porsche from behind now. It's all very close in that rear back of the field. As the Aston Martin nearly going into the back of the Porsche. Everyone getting a bit checked up in the final corner, and that will leave some guys vulnerable, one of which being Dundes. Asen going towards the outside line, which is probably the preferred line, getting the overspeed, and Dundee's gives up on the fight. And that's a position improvement for Asen, and 2 positions lost in a matter of half a lap for Dundee's. Bit further up the field, we have Glyn, who is trying to attack Hammerlund in front. Hammerlund being in the Porsche, Glyn in the Aston Martin, in the Ford. Glyn in the Aston Martin. Ford has got some great top end speed, but with the slipstream it is still anything to play for, as that slipstream will give an advantage over all the other cars, or the cars that do not have slipstream. But then Glyn going wide out of turn 8, not really hooking up the corner as much as they would have wanted to, and that results in a bit of time loss compared to Hammerlund, who is in turn getting closer to the Porsche ahead of Cabras. A very similar lap time from BX Royal and Paris, but Gertz is just pulling away, doing 54s on that last lap. 54.4 I believe I saw, which is 7 tenths quicker than P2 and P3. But look how close Paris is now to the back of BX Royal. This must mean that there would be some opportunity to get within striking distance. That Lexus is also a very quick car, but surely look at how close the Bentley is to the back of the Lexus, choosing for the inside line, getting out of the slipstream, but you can see the momentum just stops immediately. Who will be the bravest? Paris is going for it, a bit of a twitch on the brakes, but gets it done, leaves the space, and that is P number 2 for Paris, taking away that P2 from the current championship leader, BX Royal. So that's 1 position gained, but now Guts is next on the list, but currently 3.3 seconds ahead. That is a tough distance to make up, as we have a yellow flag in the background, and that is for Asen has managed to get it either stuck or have an incident. They are currently now in the pit lane after an incident occurred at the end of the back straight, and they have immediately retired the car, so must have some issues. I am guessing some sort of technical issue. Good, so with the fast lap of the race, a 1:54.075, and stretching away from the whole field behind. Still some cars in very close contention. Fitzpatrick needing to defend from 4 cars nearly behind, but a bit of an issue there from O'Leary, getting out wide out of turn number 6, giving the opportunity for Caraballo to sneak past. There's not a real gain in speed from the cars behind. You have to be really close to feel the effect of the slipstream, as we have Schmidt trying to attack Winters for a top 5 position. Schmidt now also under attack from Zangari behind, so it's a bit of a 3-way fight for P5. It will be a close fight on the back straight between the Ferraris, as the Ford ahead, just seemingly having superior straight line speed. Will not be much of a fight, I would think, but maybe we can be given a surprise. 4/10 is the gap between the 2 Ferraris. Will that come down over the course of this nearly 2-kilometer long back straight? It's actually going a bit further away, as Schmidt is gaining on Winters, so the Ford seemingly not having the best of straight line speed. And the positions remain the same, as Caraballo now very close to the back of Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick needed to defend the inside line. Caraballo choosing to go the long way around, as they are now side by side on the back straight, nothing separating them. Fitzpatrick with the inside line will hold that inside line, but he overcooks it, and that is, oh, and then a crash, and 2 cars tangle, the 2 McLaren from Venter and Fitzpatrick clashing together. As I'm trying to look for them with this bloody awful system that ACC uses. Venter and Fitzpatrick now being relegated all the way to the back of the field after that incident, and with quite a substantial amount of damage, I would assume. And that is pretty much race over for them. They will have to go to the pit lane to repair the damage. They will get the mandatory pit stop out of the way. That is at least some bonus. But I'm not sure that either of them really wanted this to happen. Venter is actually staying out. Fitzpatrick is also staying out, so the damage not being that substantial, luckily. but we will try to get a replay going for you in just a moment time. Zangari now 3/10 behind Schmidt, going through the third sector. Is there going to be a move into turn number 10? It is close. It was a bit of rubbing, but rubbing is racing. It's still very close. Ooh, and Schmidt cuts Zangari off just in the nick of time. There is no real gap there for Zangari to send one up the inside into turn number 12. They will have to stick behind and make sure that they get a good run out of the final corner to keep in contention and be close enough to maybe go for a move on the back straight. But we will quickly take a look to what exactly happened between Venter and Fitzpatrick. So we are on board right now with Fitzpatrick. Just brakes too late, gets a bit of a slide, tries to hold it. Oh, and then it is actually Venter who messes up. Oh, and then Fitzpatrick spins again because of the extreme heat in their tires from that near spin and the actual spin itself. As Venter behind. Oh, needing to slam on the brakes. Oh, and then a bit of an overcorrection. And it sends them into the wall. A light tap on the front actually. Not too bad, I think. And they get going again. So it was actually just a standalone incident. Was an overreaction probably by Venter. As we take a look back, suddenly we see that Zangari has lost quite a bit of time to Schmidt ahead. As Schmidt is trying to make now a move on Winters. Very close between the pair of them. Ford versus Ferrari all over. As to turn number 4 they go. Or number 3, excuse me. This is turn number 4. Then we have turn number 5 coming up right now. Schmidt getting very close to the back of Winter's car. Winter going a bit wide. That will compromise his exit on the back straight. And is this a close enough gap for Schmidt to possibly send one? Winter's only 3/10 ahead, 2/10 ahead now. And closing, gaining. Winter's needing to go defensive. But Schmidt going even further to the right hand side. Trying to make this move stick. Braking at the right moment. Managing to keep it within track limits. And that's a very nice move by Schmidt to take P5 away from Winters. And that move also compromised Winters a tad, making sure that Zangari is now also very close to the battle up ahead. This battle for P5 will probably last quite a long time. I have a feeling that this will last throughout the entirety of the race. Fitzpatrick decided not to come in, but they're just bleeding time compared to Venter up ahead. So I think that Fitzpatrick did get some substantial damage compared to Venter. Venter probably came off quite alright, already on the back of Black and Jordanov. Good, now leading by 4.5 seconds over Paris and BX Royal after the start, just shot away. Shot away and never looked back to the back of the field. Oh, but that's actually going really wide, and I would think that would be a ding from the stewards for track limits. You can hear all the other cars going past. On the entry to turn number 8. That just shows you how close the circuit is to one another. You can also hear it from this side with the turning or braking point for turn number 1 being very close to the back straight there. You can see some cars flying there in the background. Van Eyck manages to gain some positions as we have the first scheduled pit stop by name of Cabras going in the pit lane on lap number 11, just before the halfway point of the race, as that promotes Van Eyck up to P14 after starting from P19. So in their books probably an alright performance for this first half of the race. Let's just wait to see if it will continue to stay like this form for the remainder of the race, because anything can still happen. As we have more people into the pit lane, Oliver now also getting his required pit stop out of the way. Cabras now exiting the pit lane, will just be behind Fitzpatrick. I don't think that Fitzpatrick knew that there was a car coming. That could have been an awful lot worse. As Cabras and Oliver are now relegated to the back of the field, but are the only ones who have completed their mandatory pit stop as of yet. Behind Rach and Hammerlund very closely fighting with each other, as we can see that Hammerlund has come out on top, claiming a top 10 position away from Rach. Still, Hammerlund is behind in terms of where they started, that being P8. Now they are in P10, as we have a car with yellow flags. Who was that? That would have been Glyn. Glyn has had an oopsie out of turn number 6. losing 11 seconds. They were just behind Popov and now a bit further behind Popov with a gap of 14 seconds now. You can get on the power quite early, but not too early out of turn number 6, as the car is pretty loaded. You will spin out quite quickly if you just manage to hit the throttle a little bit too early for the car's liking. We have more people in the pit lane, and with it our leader, if I'm correct. Yes, Kurtz is in the pit lane, so is Winter, so is Popov. So lots of people taking their pit stops right now. As behind there we can see Kurtz making their way out of the pit lane again. As Popov and Winters and Zangari are doing their pit stops. Zangari coming up right now in the fast lane. Will Winters get out just ahead? It will be very close. And they will just manage to get out ahead of Zangari. That was in the nick of time. Well done to the pit crew for doing that for Winters. Zangari will probably be a little bit fuming right now, seeing that they were just a second away of getting out ahead. Kurtz now in P18, which will probably become P17, as by the time they reach the end of sector number 2, Kurtz is ahead of Caraballo. Or is he? Because, oh yes, there he is. I love that shoddy camera work. You cannot see any of the action. As Moorer just conveniently goes wide, letting Kurtz go right through. Kurtz will probably say thank you for that. Then I will move on to Turney, 6.5 seconds up the road, as more and more people are pitting, which is a logical decision on their part, seeing that it is nearly the halfway point of the race. The most optimal time usually to pit. As you can see just how filled the pit lane is. As that would be Bayliss, who looked like they were a little bit skewed into their pit box. Rach now getting out of the pit lane after serving that pit stop. There in the background we can see Bayliss coming, or is it Bayliss? No, that's not Bayliss. Someone else coming into the pit lane. That's Venter coming into the pit lane. Maybe that will be an extend stop for them, as they had some damage. As there we have Jordanov also pitting, and Kolodov entering the pit lane now, or exiting actually their pit box right now. Bayliss exiting the pit lane, and the leader right there. So BX, Royal and Weatherston 1-2 currently in the race. As Paris is also making their pit stop, I would assume. Let's just take a look and scroll through this entire field, because no one else bothered to do anything about this. Am I just blind? There we have Paris. Oh, just in the nick of time to see Caraballo spin. Was that an instigated move, as we have a yellow flag in turn number 10? That car belonging to car number 81, which belongs to Caraballo. Oh, yeah. Of course, I am just a little bit stupid today, it seems. In all honesty, I will say, didn't get a lot of sleep last night. Got like 5 hours of sleep, maybe. So I'm doing my best to keep you all very much entertained. I hope you are all enjoying it. As we will take a little look back at what exactly happened there with Paris. And the other Ferrari by the name of Caraballo. Was that something that Paris had caused, or was it something that just unfortunately happened? Very hard defending by Caraballo. Oh, and it was just on their own, but with a little bit of help, has to be said. But probably nothing Paris could have really done there. We will have to wait and see if the stewards will do anything of that incident. But back to live pictures. Weatherston has now also popped it into the pit lane. There we go. Now exiting their pit box already. Making the slow crawl to the end of the pit lane, as Turney is now also following them into the pit lane to serve their mandatory pit stop. It looks to me like Weatherston will come out in a bit of clear air, as Mora also joins Turney in the pit lane. Now Steenstra with a lot of cars just behind them. Scanlon and Zangari being very close to one another, with Popov and Rach not too much further behind. Hammerlund has clawed all the way up to second place now, but of course still needing to make that pit stop. But when are they going to make the pit stop? That is the question. Van Eyck as well being in third place currently, but also still needing to serve their pit stop. BX Royal stays out for another lap, and it's not like F1 where you can just wait for a safety car. Hammerlund is now peeling off in the pit lane, staying within the white lines. Was that a speeding in the pit lane? It might have been. It looked to me like they disengaged the pit limiter, thinking that the pit limiter line was too close. We will have to wait before they get out of the pit lane to receive confirmation from the stewards. Gertz now heading through the final corner, and with a very quick first flying lap, or second flying lap it would have actually been, all by 1:54.9. I'm just very anxious to see what will happen with Hammerlund. Will they receive a penalty from the stewards? They're getting out of the pit lane right now, and it was all good. So I was worried for nothing. It really looked to me like they were just speeding, but it might have been just not speeding. but someone else will visit the pit lane, and that person is Zangari, who is in the battle, or was in the battle for P5 before all the pit stops were being played out. Receiving a drive-through penalty right now for track limits. Like I said at the start of the race, 4 of those things will get you a drive-through, and Zangari has demonstrated that nicely for us. What happens when you do so? So they will visit the steward's office along their way throughout through the pit lane, and they will need to serve that within 3 laps though. So you cannot wait till the end of the race to do that. There is one positive side though. They are probably less likely to get another drive-through, so they can really push on and just claim that extra drive-through, or track limits, I'm sorry. Because there's no real chance really of getting 4 things in the space of 25 minutes. Dundee's now overtaking BX Royal. BX Royal coming out of the pit lane as Fitzpatrick makes way for the 2 faster cars behind. Fitzpatrick being lapped now as Guts and Paris are still ahead of BX Royal. BX Royal now somewhat being held up by the Ferrari of Dundee's. Dundee still needing to make their pit stop, but there does the Lexus go. Lexus has some great power as Zangari has finished their drive-through, completed it, and are back out on the circuit again. Dundee's lets BX Royal by, knowing it's not really their fight right now. What it does mean though is that it is the Mercedes from Van Eyck who is currently leading the race. Don't mind that they still need to make the pit stop. It's the Mercedes, the single Mercedes in the entire field, who leads this race. So take it and enjoy it while it lasts, because it's not often that a Mercedes will lead one of these races. One of the generally weaker cars, especially compared to the Ford and the Ferrari and the Lexus and the McLaren. As we go a little bit further along, Schmidt has actually gained a whole lot of time over Winters. I'm not sure where that happened, but remember they were in a fight for P5 with Zangari at one point. Zangari, of course, with the drive-through falling out of contention, and Dennis or Van Eyck still needing to make the pit stop, so they are in effectively P5 right now. Winters was previously in P5, but then now they are 8 seconds back from before they went into the pit lane. So maybe some traffic played a part in that. I'm not too sure. Maybe some damage, refueling, everything will count towards some seconds, as there was a lot of tire rubbing from Schmidt. Oh, and a big slide from them actually. An even bigger slide out of, or throughout turn number 9. That will not do the rear tires any favors. done this now after serving their pit stop in P21, just behind Maurer in the BMW ahead. Yes, down the back straight they go. Will Dandies be close enough? Ferrari power versus BMW power will not really be enough at the end of the back straight. But Maurer doesn't get a very great exit out of turn number 9 and gets scared a little bit offline and off the circuit. And Dundee slips through to claim P21 from Maurer in P22 just behind. Scanlon chasing after Steenstra. They're already in the top 10 position, which should be all good for them, especially seeing I say that Scanlon started P7. I take my words back. I thought they started lower. Scanlon is now P10, which is actually really bad for them. I was meaning to say, because they started in P7. For instance, Hammerlund just ahead, overtaking them. Still only 2.5 seconds ahead. Not too crazy of a time difference. Also as well, our current leader Van Eyck still need to make their pit stop, which will probably drop them behind and out of the top 10 as well. Other guys having had a fairly quiet race up until this point. Not a lot is going on. The top 3 on paper still within 10 seconds of each other, with Paris in the middle in effectively P2, as Gertz is about to overtake Dennis Van Eyck on pure pace, not even with the pit stops. That's the track limits probably for Gertz. Not sure how much or how many they have already got, but I need to be on the lookout not to get any more. As you can just see, the pace difference between the Mustang and the Mercedes. The Mercedes now really struggling, probably on their tires, but still needing to find a way past, and there the Mercedes pulls it into the pit lane to serve their mandatory pit stop, and Gertz is released from anyone ahead of them. So that means that after Van Eyck has completed their pit stop, everyone has completed their mandatory pit stops. So we should not see any more cars going into the pit lane anymore. And otherwise it's an unscheduled pit stop for them. There we have the Mercedes, and they will just get overtaken by quite a lot of cars. But now the question is, where do they come out? Remember, they qualified in P19 and we're really looking to up that starting position. But how much further ahead will they be? Time seems to be going so slowly as they are now underway. They're already near the end of the pit lane, so will probably be P16. Sangari, oh, just needing to avoid that Mercedes coming back on circuit. P16 for Van Eyck. Ooh, as you go very deep into the first corner. And now chasing after Zangari and Warrior. Schmidt up to P5 now. A top 5 finish would be very nice of them after starting in P9. Gaining 4 positions from the start of the race. Winters P6 also qualified in P6. So they don't really lose out on anything. It's more like they were at one point P5. Annoying for them that Schmidt got past. Winters is catching though. Now the gap is down to under 6 seconds. Wederson has had a quiet race up until this point, and probably will continue to the end of the race. No real fights, or not really engaged in any fights, just keeping it going. Nothing really to worry about, just bang in the lap times and you are good to go. Just in case anything happens in front, they will be able to catch the or make some profit out of that. As Hamilton seemingly had a bit of an issue coming out of the turn 7, losing a lot of places, and there we have a car on the side of the road. It is Venter. Venter has again found the spot on the side of the road, gets going again. Hopefully not in anyone's way, as behind Popov and someone else. I didn't see that. Who was that? And Rach are fighting it out for P10. There we go, finally. Jesus Christ. Popov trying to regain that lost position from the Mustang. The Mustang getting a nose in at turn number 8. And finally in turn making the move stick. "10 minutes on the clock." That will probably mean that we have 5 laps remaining. As we saw a little yellow flag from car 52, which belongs to Warrior, having a little issue in the final sector, causing a brief yellow flag. But manages to get back up to speed again after having just come. No, that was a bit of a longer yellow flag. They did a 2 minutes 17, which is 20 seconds slower than they should probably be doing. So something did happen at some point during the last lap. Paris and BX Royal now in a real close fight with each other. BX Royal being nearly a second quicker, a full second quicker on that last lap. Doing a 54.8, which is one of the quickest lap times out of the field as of now. Especially currently on pace. 6 tenths is the gap on the back straight. I think that is a little bit too big, even for the Lexus. They are inching closer and closer, but not by enough. Gaining a lot through the final sector though. Now only 3 tenths behind. Slicing that gap in half, 2 tenths now. Will there be a move in the following lap? It's only 7 minutes remaining, which equals to 4 laps left. It will become ever so much closer. Coming across the line now. BX Royal 1/10 quicker on that last lap. It doesn't sound like much, but every tenth counts, especially in these dying moments of the lap or of the race. Now only 2 tenths as they hit the brakes for turn number 8. Very close to the back of Paris. Will there be ascent into turn number 9? It's not really a usual overtaking spot. You have to be really confident on the brakes to pull that off. Not quite able to do it this time by BX Royal. But as they make their way through the final sector, it really looks like BX Royal just got the slight edge over Paris. This will be an interesting battle to watch all the way throughout these dying moments of the race. 3 laps left to go to decide who gets silver, who gets bronze. Nearly identical lap times by P2 and P3. As they make their way round for another lap. We have a white flag in front temporarily. That has been cleared. It was probably Caraballo if I have to make a guess. Who is lapped and will probably get out of the way just fine. Oh, a bit of a wide exit out of turn number 7 for Paris. And now it will become very close between the two of them, the two contenders for that second place trophy. First is long gone, but second is still very much to play for. They pull to the outside line, or inside line I should say, get the overspeed, get on the brakes late enough, turn it in, keep it within track limits, and they do so just fine. And that is P2 for BX Royal. After, oh, I say that, Paris is coming back with the outside line for turn number 10. Not really the usual spot you want to be in, and BX Royal shows them the door. Nothing that Paris could have really done there. Paris now again trying to get close. Maybe already go for an opportunistic move into turn number 1. Car 777 has a drive through. That's not really of the importance right now. The importance is here, right on your screen. The battle for P2 in this race. 3 minutes left on the clock. This will be the penultimate lap of the race. Everything to play for still. As the car with the drive-thru is Bayliss in the McLaren. Just as a quick heads up for everyone watching. Very close, but not close enough. Caraballo now ahead of those two leaders. Ooh, and Paris goes way wide. Just manages to keep it within track limits. I think that BX Royal wants Caraballo to move really quickly. Caraballo gets out of the way of Paris. And not really any time gained or lost by Caraballo being in front of BX Royal. They move through to the final sequence of corners for this penultimate lap. A bit of a slide from Paris as they will start the final lap of the race. The leader is on the final lap. Bayliss is in the pit serving their drive-through. O'Leary now pulling off to the side, letting these P2 and P3 go. It's all or nothing for Paris right now. Gap to Weatherstone behind is too great to really be of issue. Oh, and Bayliss got a 30-second stop-go penalty to add insult to injury for not slowing down enough for the pit entry. I think Paris has lost it around the final or during the last lap. 1 second now, the gap as they head on the back straight. That the gap is probably too big to really make anything of it. But this race was all about this man guts, start to finish. I would have said led every single lap. That isn't quite true, but still made a hell of a performance, getting the overall fastest lap of the race with a 1:54.075, nearly in the 53s, and that during racing. That is an astonishing achievement. Last 2 corners left to go, turns number 12 and turn number 13. And after that they will see the checkered flag. It will be Goods who will be victorious in Le Castellet. Goods takes victory for round number 5. And behind it is BX Royal who takes second, just ahead of Paris, who will finish on the 3rd place on the podium. Weatherstone will finish in a P4 position, with Schmidt finishing in P5 ahead of Winters, who wasn't able to catch Schmidt. And then Steenstra in a fantastic P7, I believe on debut, correct me if I am wrong. Hamelund finishes in 8th place after starting there as well. Rach will finish in P10. Then we have Zangari who finishes in P14, with Van Eyck just behind. who will finish in P15 after leading the race for a couple of laps. Dundies and Kolodov still duking it out on circuit, half a second between them, but nothing really there to make an opportunity for a pass. Dundies just needs to keep it nice and easy through this final corner. Don't make any. Oh, and there is a stack and a spin. Oh, and this could become costly as Moorer is now going to take piece. I don't know which position it was anymore. Away from both Dundies and from Kolodov. It was in the end for P19. That's a bit of a shame. But anyway, that was the race. And in the end, it was Guts who takes victory. Nearly 7 seconds ahead of BX Royal, then it is Paris. Wedston Schmidt taking up the top 5. Winters, Tienstra, Hemmelund, Scanlon and Arah taking up the top 10 with Popov, Cabras, Klin, Zangari, Van Eyck, Oliver, Warrior, Turney, Moorer and then Dundies making up the top 20. Kolodov, O'Leary, Caraballo, Black, Fitzpatrick, Jordanov, Venter and Bayliss make up the remaining classified finishes with Aisan only managing to do 5 laps and Lane not taking the start at all. Let's quickly save the replay because there are some things I want to take a look at. The first one being what happened to Ison. Car 218, there we go. Managing only to do a handful of laps. And it was near the end of the back straight. What happened here? They moved to the outside line. Oh, and there was a bit of a tangle and a big hit into the wall. And that was probably some terminal damage there. I'm not quite sure actually who would be to blame for this. Let's have a quick sim racing stewards moment. Of course, the actual stewards will probably take this in their own hands. This just for a bit of content. I think this would be on Asen. I am not going to lie. I think they lost the car and that meant that they collided and ended up in the barrier. I am waiting a little bit to see if people are going to react to my request or my opportunity to get in some post commentary or post race commentary. But I'm not sure that anyone is really going to do that. I would just wait a little bit longer. That was it for today's race though. I hope you all enjoyed it. Let me know, what do you think was the moment for today's race? Of course, there was a lot happening, especially towards the end with the battle for P2. And of course, some other shenanigans happening further down the field. Paris in the end not able to hang on for that second place.
Green light, go, go, go.
So next week we have the next race on our agenda, which will be the 24 hours of Nürburgring Nordschleife. Of course, not actually 24 hours, just 1 hour, 1/24 of it. But still, should make for an exciting race. Not a whole lot of laps will be run there, so strategy will be key, and also keeping it out of the barrier will be key, because that's kind of difficult around the circuit, like the Nordschleife. And after that race, we have round 7 Imola, then round 8 Suzuka, which is 100 minutes, so an hour and 40 minutes, bit longer than the races you are used to. And then last but not least, we have round 3, very nicely in chronological order, to end off the season at Valencia. I've not heard anything from post-race interviews, so I will close down the stream. Thank you for watching. That was an exciting race. Thanks for watching. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you next week for the Green Hell. Until then, have a good one. Bye bye.